Greetings everyone, welcome to today's video. My name is Celine and this is my sister Nicole. Today we're talking about comparisonitis is what I like to call it. Why we compare ourselves, why we shouldn't compare ourselves, and how we can empower ourselves not to compare.
Yes, comparisonitis. I think it's safe to say that since the rise of social media and especially Instagram, we have seen so many people scrambling to compare how their lives look in comparison to others. And this is really such a danger because remember that people only put out what it is that they want others to see. A lot of the time, the things that we see on the surface is not the reality of what people are really experiencing. And so when we continuously compare our lives to those of other people, then we continuously fall short because we are basing our life on an illusion that someone has created. And so, as a result of continuously comparing ourselves to other people, well, the number one message that we're telling ourselves is that we're not good enough the way we are. And that's just simply not true. Because even though we are here giving you tips on how you can improve your life and how you can get closer to your true self and get closer to what it is that you truly desire, what we really want to reiterate is that you know best for yourself what it is that you need to do in order to get there. We're only here to pinpoint and share some tools that have helped us. We're here to maybe give you some new insights that you perhaps didn't know, but we're not here trying to tell you that we have all the answers, because the answers really are internally. Everything works individually, and there's no set way, there's no correct way to live life. It's really about following your own intuition and following your own guidance, because something that worked for me, for example, didn't work for Celine, and something that worked for her didn't work for me. And so just like things that might work for me might not work for you, and vice versa, there is no set rules. Remember that you are good enough as you are. Is there room for improvement? Of course, we can always be improving our shortfalls and our shortcomings, but this is not to say that everything about you is wrong.
Yes, thank you for that. And society conditions us to compare ourselves with one another. It starts from a very young age. It starts in school where we're also taught to compete with one another. And so they kind of go together, comparison and competition. Without one, we don't have the other. And we are reiterating and we are pointing to the fact that we have a true self. So we all have our own unique blueprint, which is what we refer to as the masterpiece that lays dormant within. But with all of this societal conditioning, we are actually losing that connection to our uniqueness, to our divinity, to our unique blueprint. And as such, this is when we start getting confused and we start questioning the meaning of life or our purpose and what the meaning of all of this is. And the idea is really to reconnect to who you are inside. And at the moment, that voice, that divinity, that source within might be very, very faint. It might come through as a whisper, but that is the voice that we are strengthening, or our intention is to assist in the strengthening of, so that you do not need any external validation, so that you don't need anything outside of yourself to feel a certain way, to accomplish your desires, to move or express yourself in a way that is true to who you are, that is authentic to who you are. And so, how can we start moving away from this? We can start pinpointing what our triggers are, what makes us compare ourselves to others, what tendencies make us compete with others. Is it in your career? Is it in a family setting? Siblings tend to do this quite a lot as well. Is it in a different setting entirely? Perhaps it's still in your education or wherever it may be that you find yourself competing. First, find these triggers and start detoxing from these triggers, such as the external validation or the social media or the different programmings that you feel you have to abide by simply because society tells you that this is the way to go.
And to add to that is, this form of comparison that we do it comes from, deep down, this feeling that we're just not good enough, that someone else is always doing better. But as I was saying earlier, people will only put out what it is that they want you to see, and we only really see the surface level because we live in a society that we are, conditioned to think that those people who have all the money in the world are happy. But, how many people up out there who have supposedly made it successfully? Yes, they have the great job and they live in the big house and they have all the cars, but are they really happy? There are all the things that we don't see. We've been taught to look only at material sort of possessions as a mode of how successful we are in life. But yet there are so many people out there who have all the material possessions, but perhaps they don't have the best of relationships. Perhaps they, they're not in a loving partnership. Perhaps their relationship with their kids or their friends is not good. Perhaps they're working all the time, so they don't have time to socialize. So remember, what we see is only a small fragment of somebody's actual life. So when we are constantly comparing, oh, that person is doing better, there's so many things beneath the surface that you cannot really see. So rather than focusing so much on trying to make your life like somebody else's, focus on, okay, maybe there are traits that somebody has that you aspire to develop in your own life, and that's absolutely fine. But maybe somebody is further ahead than you are, but you haven't seen the toil that's gone behind that. So don't just take what's on at face value and think that because you're not where these people are, that you're not going in the right direction. Remember, we all have our own experiences in the world, and we're all here to learn different things, and we're all here to do things differently, because at the end of the day, you are perfectly unique in who you are. And the idea is not to try and become a photocopy of somebody else, but to really celebrate your uniqueness, celebrate your unique traits, and understand that something that is working for somebody else will not necessarily work for you. And if it doesn't, that doesn't make anything wrong with you. You're perfectly fine the way you are. It's just about adapting. Maybe you've tried something and it doesn't work, then you'll try something that somebody else does, and maybe that will work. But at the end of the day, you're also going to adapt it to work for you. So there are so many tools out there that exist, but it doesn't mean that these tools will be helpful for everyone in the same way. So just to remember, don't keep looking externally for your answers. Focus on what you already have going on within, and focus on improving those things as opposed to constantly focusing on all the things that are perhaps not going so right in your life.
I'd like you also just to, notice and observe what's happening in nature. Nature doesn't duplicate or copy. Everything you see in nature, including a snowflake, is unique. It has its own blueprint. So why would you want to be like someone else? So what you're actually looking at in someone else that you desire or that you envy is actually a part of yourself that you have abandoned or suppressed, because everything you are seeking is found within. So what you can do instead is use that desire, use that envy, use what it is that you desire in another as fuel for transformation as opposed to fuel for self destruction. And what I mean by that is, as you compare yourself, as we've been saying, you are putting yourself down. You are looking for someone else's idea, someone else's way to do things, someone else's way to look. Everything is about someone else's. Someone else has programmed this, and it is better than my own way or the way I look, or etc. etc. But this is just betraying your true self. This is just putting you down, and you're creating more of a disconnect with your truth, with your authenticity, with your higher self, with your divinity. These are just words which we are pointing at as you do this. So another idea you can do is to shift out of consuming others' lives with this whole social media thing and the stories and the whatever. We can shift out of that a little bit and start coming from a place of knowing that you are a creator. What can you create today? And it doesn't have to be massive, it doesn't have to be extraordinary. It can be something really small, like making pancakes. But what can you create today and put intention behind it? Everything is also based on intention. So what intention can you place behind this thing that you are creating to make you feel like you don't need anything outside of yourself?
Absolutely. This video serves really just to give you your power back. There's so much, especially since the rise of the new age movement and a lot more people talking about personal development. What we really want to highlight and reiterate in this video is that you have the power and there is nobody who can take that away from you. And it's really about trusting in yourself, trusting the information that comes to you, and really don't look for that external validation. Don't think that somebody can possibly know better than you what is good for your life. So if you are resonating with this video, if you have noticed that perhaps you find yourself comparing yourself to others a lot, we would love to hear from you in the comments down below. Share with us how this has made you feel, perhaps, or what areas in which you have been comparing yourself. And really just this is a shift that will take some time if this is a program that has been running for you a lot. But just remember, there is no one that can possibly know more than you what is best for you and your life.
On a practical level, what you can do is just start thinking about what your ideal archetype is, your highest version of you. Who would you be in that version of you that you want to be? What does that look like? What does that feel like to you? What are others telling you about yourself? What are you hearing? What are you writing about yourself? What are you telling yourself? What is the tone of voice that you're using? What are the things that you're wearing? What are you talking about? You start creating this archetype for yourself. And as you do this, you will notice that you will begin embodying those traits. And this is you moving into your true self, into your higher self, into your unique blueprint, into the masterpiece that you are.
We hope this video has been helpful. We hope that it has highlighted some things that perhaps you were unaware of previously. And we hope really that you will realize that the power honestly and truly only lies within you. So thanks so much for tuning in with us today, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.